All right, welcome, welcome. Let's go, everybody. I'm just letting people in. Come on in and introduce yourself. Say hi in the chat. This is going to be fun. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Drew here. And get your note panels up. Maybe go through the agenda. If you want to actually copy while we get people in. Here, let's keep letting people in. I'll just kind of hold my words. Hope everybody's having a beautiful Friday. Let's go. If you can hear me, good. Just doing a mic check. Check 1 2 1 2. Cool. Just come on in and get situated. We're just letting people in. Welcome to Ganesh. Welcome Bray. Welcome Cheryl, Candace, Sarah, Katrina. Let's go. And Kristen. It's gonna be fun. Y'all, this is really amazing today because, I mean, we say it on Growth Day, and you hear it probably in the daily fires if you attend the daily fires and you listen to them every day. But Brandon always says it's a great day to grow. And, I like to think, whenever I hear him say that, I think it's a great day to learn. And I think I've had that in my brain instilled since I was about 11 years old playing baseball. Oh, you're gonna have to learn this, you're gonna have to learn this, and you have to learn this. And today we're gonna talk about learning continuously and building in the practices, the rituals and routines to be able to do that. But also we're gonna share some of those things today, and we have a good, really solid agenda lined up. It's going to help us move these things forward in our life. So I'm just letting more people in, and then we'll get situated. So if you need to quickly run, grab a drink of water, get your water in check. If you need to get your notes up, I'm going to suggest you do that too. And right now, if you want to copy and paste the agenda, just go over to the far right tab of the growth group, grab the agenda, paste it into your notes, the questions, and then what we're going to do is just kind of go through and answer these things today. And obviously we just released this new feature called the mini player, so you could just literally go to the plan and listen to this whole talk. You could go to the journal and listen to this entire talk, and you could still be taking notes along the way too. So you have that ability. All right, just letting people in, and we're going to get started. So first off, hope everybody's having a beautiful Friday. A beautiful, beautiful Friday. It's so nice. I'm in actually North Carolina right now, and the leaves are just so beautiful, and they're falling. And I'm staying at this organic farm here in North Carolina, and there's just been chickens and goats. We had a wild incident with a goat, but it's just, leaves are falling. I just got that fall vibe, and it just reminds me of the winter's coming, and it's just a nice time to be grateful and thinking about gonna see family in November and December. And yeah, I just wanted to say have a little moment of gratitude for the fall, and just how incredible the world is and these seasons and the changing. So I'm curious if you all are getting to experience fall where you're at right now. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So all right, but we got 10 people here. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. So we have a full 55 minutes left for the session, so if you do need to bounce, it's totally okay. But what we're gonna do first, see more people just pop on in, you never know. So I'm just gonna keep getting in. Welcome Greg, welcome Kelly, Adele. Sweet. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about today, I'm just going to go right through the list and just jump right into it. And thinking about building continuous learning habits. And you're all here for an absolute mega reason that, building continuous learning habits can be kind of challenging if you don't necessarily have the routines in place to be able to learn because why do people not learn typically, right? Maybe they don't have the time. I hear that quite a bit. I worked at lynda.com for many, many years, and that was one of the biggest things when people would be like, well, why aren't you learning? Why aren't you watching this content? Why aren't you taking the actions when you are learning the content? Well, a lot of people say they don't have time. So the big trend 10 or so years ago was to make content shorter, make content bite-sized. And I'm sure you've all heard that so many times. And you know what, even if you make content shorter for people to learn, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to learn it, practice it, apply it maybe teach it back, coach it. There's there's a lot that's missing on that cycle. So today, when we're talking about building continuous learning, I want you to just deeply reflect about the things that you're doing today and the things that you maybe did this last month, the things you did this last year. We're heading into the new year very soon. And I want you to think about, like, well, was there something that you started learning and then you just completely stopped? You just stopped, and maybe today, or you can take a note here and maybe you could journal about it. Like, why do you think you stopped? And we're going to go into that in the second question of today's agenda. But, there's just a lot of reasons why we don't do that. And we're going to all get realigned today, and we're going to get it back on and support each other to making sure that we build continuous learning habits. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so first thing right now, I really want you to just take a deep breath with me and think about, what are you learning right now? What are you learning right now? And if you want to put it in the chat because you're open to sharing, this growth groups is a very social learning experience. I want you to write that. And I'm going to be very open with what the things that I'm learning right now and the things that are just really important to me, because that's the second question. Well, why is it important to you? And then I have connect to necessity. So one of the high performance habits in Brennan's book, The High Performance Habits, is necessity. And necessity is, really rooted in knowing what the drivers are and what the purpose is behind the things that you do, so that when you think about the thing that you need to do, you have necessity for it. You have a reason to learn it. You have purpose behind it, and you can connect it to the things that are the most important things in your life. And when you do that, you can get a little bit more motivation, get a little bit more encouragement about the things that you need to learn. And, I'll get a little personal here. One of the biggest things that I'm learning right now is just executive leadership. And, in my entire career, I've been a principal designer, principal maker, creator, building products and services. But this phase of my life, when I say this phase, I'm talking about the phase of where I'm at right now in my career. I want to really elevate how I lead from an executive perspective, not just in my org and my team right now, but how I'm doing it and showing up for my family, how I'm showing up for my friends, how I'm showing up on social media, how I'm showing up on social network like LinkedIn and Facebook. And I'm really thinking about my executive leadership. And that is a big bucket of things, right? It's I'm reading books, I'm listening to audiobooks for that. I'm also trying to understand more about the challenges and struggles that other companies and other teams and other leaders are going through, so that I can empathize with them, but I can also support and coach and recommend and help them redirect and help them learn about the things that they're going through so that they can show up better as well. And that leads into the second thing that I'm really learning right now, which is just elevating people, trying to help elevate people. All of you are here because you're curious about building continuous learning habits, or you just want to hang out with us on Growth Day and start learning about how you can do this inside the app, which I'll absolutely 100% share. But think about the things right now. What are you learning, and why is it important to you? And if you were to connect it to your necessity about your purpose and the things that are most important to you, what would that be? Take a note right now. Just take your time, jot down some notes. So already I put executive leadership, I have elevating people, I have teaching design intention and awareness. So in my whole history, I've been teaching product design, teaching being effective in building design systems and what that looks like and what that feels like. But this last 3 years, I really kind of shifted into really thinking about in design intention and the power of purpose, the power of intention. And that's something that, from looking at all sorts of learnings, all sorts of, books and other things that I'm really passionate about, that's something that I want to continue doing. So I'm continually learning about those things. And then the last one is just parenting and relationship development. And not just relationship with me and my wife, but parenting and working with kids And right now I'm in the stage where my son, he's 12. He's going to school at this school. It's called like an Agile Learning Center. And the interesting thing about this, and I think you would all find this very fascinating, is that the school is set up, and it's only 3 days a week, but the school is set up in a way that delivers what they call offers. And these offers are ways for kids to teach kids certain traits and things that they're passionate about. And then they also have guest speakers and guest teachers and facilitators. They call the teachers their facilitators. And they help facilitate topics, from like the 10 to 3:30. And there's different schedules and different things happening. So the reason why I tell you this is it makes me think about how can we make continuous learning a habit. Well, I think the first thing that is often skipped or forgotten is just, you're going to be like, this is just so common sense true, is a schedule. How many of us are like, of course we need a learning schedule. But I want to even double tap into that even more, because a schedule is important. It is a calendar of events. We follow that schedule. But if you're not really planning that schedule and you're not really thinking about the things that you do before you start learning, or if you're not thinking about the time that you're most effective and most aware and focused, then, or if you're, picking times that really don't work for you and you have like this little 10-minute window, and that's not really serving you over the long term. So I want you to take a step back and think about, okay, well, if I'm writing down, I need to build in a way to learn in my schedule. But when am I most effective? When do I like to learn? Do I like to learn at night when it's dark and it's quiet and I can just, put my headphones on and go into learning mode? Or do I prefer to do that 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when everybody's still sleeping? When is your learning moment? And you could also take it another step forward by thinking about not just when you could be learning, but thinking about how you could be stacking your learning and habit stacking your learning. So this might look like every day I'm going to work out. And when I work out, I'm going to listen to something that's either going to be motivational, something that's going to be a speaker, a mentor, an advisor, a course, whatever it is that you're really trying to focus on at this moment. And you could habit stack that together. Habit stacking is basically putting activities and actions together so that you can kind of piggyback off of those two things, and it makes it a little bit easier to do that. For example, you could do, if you're trying to learn more about your fitness or your workouts, or if you're trying to learn more about just how to be better in your industry or in your element, you could, when you're working out or when you're walking, you could be listening to something, or when you're waking up earlier and you're trying to figure out what it is that you're doing, you could actually build out a development plan. And this is something that I often teach a lot of the designers and the product makers that I coach, is a development plan is not just something that is like, oh, I'm going to learn these 5 things this year. You really want to think about, okay, well, when am I going to practice this? How am I going to learn this with, maybe it's your teammates, whether it's a third party, a resource, or a coach that you have. And how am I going to make sure that I'm kind of benchmarking how well I know this and where I want to go? And that's when we were talking about a couple weeks ago, talking about clarity and knowing what success looks like for the things that you want and the things you desire. Well, if you have a series of priorities and goals that you want to achieve, then you might need to be learning new things about those, that effort moving forward, so that you can prepare for it and you can get better at it, and then you can start working on those things. So full loop here. So going back to the building continuous learning habits and building a schedule and been building that intention behind how you plan those things out can be so powerful and so dramatically valuable to you, so that you're optimizing your days and optimizing when you're going to do it, and you're optimizing how you're going to do it, and you're optimizing the purpose, and kind of circling back to your biggest goals. And I hope this is making sense so far. So let me just check in the chat. So let's say here, Yes, like learning and listening while you're doing weights is another really powerful thing. But I want you to like even just double tap into like, are you, hopefully you're all writing some notes about the things that you're learning. So come up with like 4 things right now. I'm gonna pause just for a minute, and I want you to write out, what are you trying to learn right now. I just gave you like 4 or 5 examples. I gave you examples of even just like what the kids are doing with the schedule. So I want you to think about, what are the 3 or 4 things that you're trying to learn right now? And I just want you to put them in your notes in the right sidebar, or if you're on the mobile, then you can do that as well. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. So even like nutrition, right? Nutrition's going to have a lot of additional things related to nutrition, like, like prepping food, learning about the types of food that your body likes, learning about the types of food that your body doesn't really, associate to, and thinking about, well, how am I going to prepare the food so that I can have a really good solid meal? Same thing, Ganesh, like with the, like there's a really interesting Netflix series that came out where this guy in Oakland, I lived in Alameda, which is right across, it was a little island right across from Oakland, and this dog teacher or the dog trainer was teaching like dogs that had very, very aggressive histories and backgrounds. They like had trained to not do very good things, and this dog trainer was teaching about their practices, like just getting other perspectives about what's out there and what happens, and how you can like see how other people handle things. Is going to be that's really exciting and really cool to learn more about. Time management, another thing, like time management, really challenging, but oftentimes where I've seen like people that I've worked with time management, and the first step is actually just sitting in front of your calendar and looking at everything that you do throughout the week and thinking about, well, where is my time being spent? We have so much time throughout the day, but it's also easy to get redirected with all the distractions. And once you start implementing like time boxing exercises and practicing those things, right, super powerful, super impactful. Time management seems to be like, a couple things on there. Yep. Yeah, so Greg, great question. Like, I love how you just came out and said it. Well, utilizing Growth Day to build clarity first. Well, clarity, what do we need to build clarity? And so let's just say we're trying to figure out what we want to learn with Growth Day. Or how is Growth Day going to help me learn X, Y, and Z? I think the first thing that you could be doing is you could be connecting to like reflection. And reflection is a way for you to build more clarity about what it is that you're trying to achieve in your personal development goals, in your dreams, in your ambitions. You can do that in 2 different ways. You can go to the profile and write out like 4 or 5 goals if you have the clarity for what your goals are. And the profile up in the top has a page where you're going to see, all of your, here, I'll just go there right now. So if you're going to your profile, and you'll see your big why in the big section for the content. Here, I'll just share my screen right now so you guys can see it. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. And let me just make sure that I'm in gallery mode. I'll just go back to gallery mode. And then I'm going to go to my profile. Okay. So how can you really jump in and getting super duper clarity? Well, you can start answering some of the most important questions in your repertoire, in your life. And the big thing here is thinking about, well, what's your big why? Like, what's your purpose? And you can come in here and answer that in your profile. Oops, I don't want to open up an image. But you can add an image, you can come here, you can answer your big why. And I have my big whys here, and then I have like focus areas. So it's a way for you to build a little bit more clarity. Then you can come in and start building out some of your goals and just adding your goals inside of the list. You can also go to your plan tool and start listing out like, well, in October, what are the things I'm trying to advance? What are the things I'm trying to maintain? This was like one of the growth groups that I did a session. If you're interested in that and you didn't get to see that, I'm going to be uploading all my replays for these growth groups into the community section, so those will be coming really soon. So so just stay tuned for that. But thinking about like what are the things you're trying to do could be another way that you do that. Let me just go. I'm just gonna check your comments. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so building a plan can really help with that. And then if you're still feeling like you're kind of a little, a little off, you can go in and use the journal and then start getting comfortable. Like I would encourage you to journal every single day and just do the morning mindset. You can also do the evening reviews and just get comfortable and get used to writing about the things that you're learning, the things that you're doing. And these questions, these prompts are all evidence-based, research-backed. Like we put a lot of effort into like what questions can we ask to help advance you, elevate you, encourage you, help you focus. That's what the journal is going to be helping you with. That can also help you build clarity in yourself in personal development. And then if you want to tap in to our weekly and monthly topics, we have a series and a plethora of a lot of different content, which can also help you build clarity around the things that you're developing, like whatever the focus areas that you have. And that's why, like, Growth Day really offers more of like a true growth loop. You have planning elements, you have learning elements, you have practice elements, and then you have reflection elements. And then you just keep going through this growth loop. And that's another way for you to have continuous growth and continuous learning. But it all comes back down to that mindset that you have when you're stepping into these environments and you're stepping into these shoes. So wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go back to the growth group. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So Greg, let me know if that was helpful. And let me know if you have more questions about that, okay? All right, sweet. Let's keep going. So we talked about the first question. Let's move on to the second question, right? Now, what is holding you back from learning the thing you want to learn? What is holding you back from the thing that you're wanting to learn? I know when we talk about the WHOOP framework that Danny does twice a week, he's taking a break this week. But think about what is holding you back right now from learning the thing that you've been just dreaming of, the thing that you want to learn, the thing that's just like there for you. What is that right now? And go ahead and think about that and write it down as in your second bullet in your notes. What is the thing holding you back right now? Just gonna pause. I'm gonna share with you the things that I think are holding me back from learning the things I want to learn. Be super vulnerable with you all. And let's go. I think, okay, so remember I said for my personal side, and I'm just sharing these two so you can hear another perspective, another point of view. There's no right and wrong here. But something that's holding me back right now from learning, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh at me. Well, let's say it. Yeah, okay. Distraction. I hear. Distraction, time, competing interests. One of the things holding me back from learning right now is driving. Oh my gosh, I said it. Driving. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not a big fan of driving. I like walking. I like running. I like public transportation. When I lived in the Bay Area, I was so used to just walking everywhere, and or taking like the train, or and I very rarely drove in a car. I think I might have driven in a car like once a week when we would go to soccer games, or when we'd go to get boba tea. But I often didn't like to drive. Long story short, I went deep sea fishing out in the Bay Area, out in the ocean, salmon fishing, and I didn't get sick, but I got motion. This whole new motion thing happened to me, where now whenever I drive on hills, I get a little motion sickness, but I don't get sick, but I just feel it, and I really just don't like driving. And now it's a Mercedes Winnebago, Bray. So it is like, it's it's static. We drive this RV, like in the chat. Bray was saying, like, well, you have a motorhome. Yes, we have a motorhome, and we travel. In 2016, we got this, so we've had it for 6 years, and we travel and get to experience nature and the wildlife, and just like we love traveling. But yeah, I don't like driving. It's so funny. My wife is like the pro. She's the pro driver, and she really likes it. But I gotta say, driving is holding me back from learning these things because out of the day I have to drive. I drive my kiddo to school, and I'm not used to that time frame. So I'm still adjusting my schedules, and I'm waking up a little differently, and I'm just preparing my days. And it's like not something that I was able to figure out in the first like week of moving to North Carolina. It's something that I'm practicing, and I'm giving myself grace with that. And I'm learning about different ways that I can compartmentalize my days so that I'm still learning, but I still often wake up earlier in the day because I love that morning quiet. I was giving you examples of morning or evening. Morning time I like to really design for learning the things that I'm really just trying to grow in. And it's like listening to books, it's listening to interviews and to podcasts, so I'm hearing different perspectives about the things that I'm passionate about. But driving is something that's really just slowing me down. Let me read some others. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, 100%, y'all. So another one that is kind of holding me back is just like feeling settled, because we've been traveling, but y'all, this is a personal adventure for us, because even though we're in this really unique school situation where it's more like a self-guided learning experience, it's hard to like really elevate the things that you want to do when you're constantly moving and you're constantly changing, and you're not feeling like a settled feeling. And I think that's a compromise that I've been willing to make for my learning and personal development journey, because I want my kiddo and my wife to really be able to experience this unique situation at this school, which is like, we looked all over the world about like where we could go to experience this type of school system. And it was kind of like an exploratory thing, but it's also something we're testing and exploring. So that was a compromise that I had to make. And you're going to have to make compromises as well when you're starting to figure out, okay, well, I want to do this. I want to learn. Connecting to your purpose, your passion, your big why, like we talked about in the growth profile, having plans, reflections in your journal, but also participating and learning through our weekly live events, which you could do with habit stacking. Like, because if you come to our Wednesdays and you're a pro or all access member, then you're going to get 2 back-to-back sessions with like a world class expert in personal development. They're going to teach you and share frameworks and examples, and the discussions, if you haven't been a part of them, are world class. They're exceptionally well executed. But you're going to have to make compromises on when you do things and how you do them. And for me, that was like something that's kind of making me feel a little slower, because when I had my studio in Alameda, like I would, if my team thinks I'm prolific now with the output that I have, like when I have a studio space, I'm so much faster. And even though like I basically planted my studio space here in my remote RV studio, where I still have all my cameras, I have my aerial cameras and the things that I'm teaching on multiple screens. I have, cameras and microphones. But it's taken me years to practice to be able to get my studio in a place where I know exactly where everything is. I know exactly where everything needs to go. And I know exactly when I step in and I sit down and I start getting after it for what it is I want to do, I know what I need to do. And I know I'm going to go in learning mode, or I'm going to go in execution mode, or I'm going to go in practice mode. And I want to encourage you to think about, well, for the things that are holding you back, what can you do to prepare for those moments just a little bit better? So for me, it was just like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure that even if I have to travel, I'm going to create an environment that still inspires me And that still is supportive to the things that I need to do to help run product and design here at Growth Day. So I want to encourage you to think about those things too, and then find a way to make it happen. Let's go. All right, I'm going to come back to the chat here. All right. I know we're talking about driving. Yeah. All right. So what are your, let's just recalibrate here. What are the things holding you back from learning it? What are the things holding you back, right? I said driving and feeling settled. But it might slow me down, but it also is an opportunity for me to overcome it and really schedule that habit of learning, schedule that moment to integrate my time into Growth Day so that I am more intentional and more purposeful. I have just the ability to step into this moment and be my best. And I love that. All right. So any other thoughts, questions, comments, please leave them in the chat to the right, and then we'll keep going. I'm just going to keep going to the next question. All right. So number 3, what actions could you take to elevate your learning practice? What actions could you take? And I know that we were just talking about, like, you can literally right now in the app go to the plan tool, start a new plan, being like October. It's, we have 2 more weeks in October. You could even just start your November product learning or your November learning list. And you could go in, create a plan, call it November learning list, and then write what are the next 5 things that you're going to do in November to help you learn the thing that you're trying to learn. Now, whether it's, whatever example it is, and if you want to also raise your hand, and if you want to come on and we can do a couple, have some additional speakers today, and we could talk about the things that we're learning, but we can also talk about the actions. Like, what are the top 3 or 4 actions or the top 5 actions? You can just create a plan right here, right while we're talking about this, and you don't have to miss a beat. This is another powerful thing that you can do in the Growth Day app. So what I wrote down for the actions that I can take, just to kind of keep the conversation going and keep you thinking about this, is I'm going to plan to learn. I'm going to plan to learn. Now, I have this whole course that's called Mapping to Learn. And I love mapping to learn because when I was thinking about the top things that designers or creators need when they're starting new projects, they need to be able to create a map. And a map can look like so many different things. Like, the eye is in the beholder, and you can create a map from anything. You can map anything. You're moving to another city, you can map out your move. You're building a new product, you can map out the product. You're building a party, you're having a party for Halloween or for Christmas. You can map out the party. You can map out who's coming, when are they coming, how it's going to look. And you can also map out your learning and development plan. This could be like, well, what am I trying to learn? When am I gonna do that? And what are the milestones for me learning this thing? So if you were to break it down, well, the end is I want to be a developer, or I want to be a designer. Great, that's the goal. And we can decompartmentalize it and break it up and kind of deconstruct it and think about the different milestones that it's going to take to get there. That's what we would call action planning. You can go in and do that. So I want you to encourage you to plan to learn, map to learn, execute the learning, right? You're going to execute that learning, and then you're going to practice that learning, right? You're going to execute it, then you're going to practice it, and then you're going to share what you're learning with a friend, with a family member, with your teammate, with your whoever. And you want to be able to share that learning because it's a reflection back of what you're like learning, what you're acknowledging that you're learning, and you're able to share that back. Because once you can write that out, it's helping you obtain that information just a little bit better. Then once you can share that learning, then you can start teaching that learning back to maybe your kids or to your teammates or to your coworkers or to whoever. And then once you can do that over and over and over, then you can start mastering the learning. And then you can start getting better and better and practicing it even more. So to me, that's like kind of like a growth loop for continuous learning, because we're always learning, we're always growing. But if you have that open mindset and that growth mindset, and Brendan was just talking about that yesterday in the Daily Fire about growth mindset and about like just kind of triggering and realizing that there's always something more to learn. There's always something more that we can grow and develop. So it's not about being hard on yourself. It's not about stressing yourself out and just saying like, this is like what I have to do, or I'm gonna be hard on my growth, because some things come naturally. Some things are faster than others. So give yourself some time to really sink into the information and know that you have time to learn this. You can do it. It's going to be more fun though if you share it with others and you bring people into your journey and what you're learning and developing and growing. They might have examples and tips and tricks, and for you, if you are also participating in other growth groups, you can also share with the other channels what you're trying to learn and what you're trying to grow in, or you can post it in the community. On the left sidebar, it's the very bottom icon, and you can help others, and you can share what you're learning and share what you're growing in, because other people are going through the same thing. They could be learning the same exact thing you are, and if you're growing together, it makes things just a lot more fun and more like just more like together. Just makes things feel like more together, and that's going to help also with your learning. And that's why social learning is so important. But obviously there's times where we need to go in and we just need to please, no distractions right now. I need to focus. I need to make sure get this through, and I need to get this happening. So again, here I'm going to paste this in. This is one of my notes for y'all. So planning to learn, mapping to learn, executing the learning, practice the learning, share the learning, teach the learning, master learning, and just knowing that there is a loop, a continuous loop to this process. And if you're just open to always be growing, always be learning, then you'll already have that going into these things and not be so hard on yourself when you're not maybe so good at it. There's time. The next thing, another action that I think we could take. So I said that the message that I just pasted in the chat was more about one of the actions you could take. The other action you could take is connecting to joy and connecting to your necessity, not because you have to, but just because it's fun. Like connecting to things that you love and remembering that you're learning this thing because you maybe love it, or you want to be able to pursue something in the thing that you're learning, like a career, or it could be anything, or traveling and speaking another language so you can travel that country. It could be anything. But finding the joy in it, and connecting that joy also to your true necessity. Like, why are you doing this, Drew? Why are you making this happen? Well, because it's important for me to provide for my family. It's important for me to provide for my team. It's important for me to build meaningful and quality relationships with the people that I get to tap into, and I get to help them pursue the things that they care about. That's, for me, that's my necessity, and that drives me every day to go do the thing I want to do. So think about what it is for you, and when you're trying to think about the things that you're learning, tap into the things, tap into that joy, tap into that necessity. Think about, okay, I got this, I can do this. And if you're struggling with that, then you can reach out to the community. If you don't want to do that, then you can reach out in private messages and talk to people and be like, hey, I'm trying to learn this. I'd love to get your opinion, and you can ask for help. And I think that's a really natural, and it's a natural thing to do, and people will respect you for asking for help. All right. So what is the necessity? So if necessity is one of the high performance habits, Katrina. So if you haven't heard of Brennan's book, High Performance Habits, Katrina, you can go to the Learn pillar here. Let me go to this real quick so everybody can see this. So I'm going to share my screen. Boop. And then I'm going to go over to the Learn pillar. So everybody go to the Learn pillar. We have courses, and we have this High Performance Habit Builder course. And then we have a whole topic on necessity. So necessity around, Brennan goes into his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos on this. This is one of our signature courses. And this course will help you understand how to connect to your big why, how to connect to, your drivers of what it is that, like, why are you doing what you're doing? And when you can connect to the purpose and connect that purpose to the thing that you're trying to achieve, it helps motivate you. It helps keep you encouraged. It helps keeps you focused on why you're doing what you're doing. And when you have that why, then you're not aiming your energy into something that doesn't really serve you. You're aiming your energy into the thing that matters, and you have a really good connection point back to the reason why. And that is a really good, comfortable loop for you to be in, because it's like, well, I have necessity. I know why this is needed, and I can connect it back to my purpose and my why. And then I would highly encourage to, if you haven't watched this, to go through this, and it'll be a game changer for you. Cool. Let me come back to you over here in the cool. All right. So just gonna check on the comments. Oh, Katrina, that's amazing. You're going to have literally a whole year of incredible content. And please reach out to us in community, or if you're, as you go through this, and if you have any questions, I think you're going to absolutely love it. It's a massive game changer. Okay, yeah, I would include the Habit Builder series as part of your development plan. And then while you do that, though, this is a really important thing when we talk about continuous learning and growth, is you want to, when you are learning new things, you want to habit stack or stack up one of the big projects or goals that you're currently working on. You just don't want to only be in learning mode. You want to also tie in something that you're learning with a project that you're working on. And this is something that, like, I've been doing since 2008. Whoa. It's like, I can't believe it. But it's like tying together every team that you're on, every new project that you're given. When you can tie in a new learning or a new skill with the project that you're working on, it helps you kind of catapult yourself into another level of performance. Because if you're just doing the project with just what you know, then you're missing on a lot of opportunities that could help you grow. So tapping into, like, oh, well, I'm going to start this new project. Okay, well, what are maybe the 2 or 3 things that you don't really know very well about that project, or what's a gap that you might have? You could pick up 2 or 3 books about it. You could pick up a course about it. That way you're getting a perspective from different parties, and not just like what you know, but also where you could take this project based on your influence, based on the things that you want to get better at. So literally always try to pair a book or a lesson or a course with a new project that I'm taking on. I think that will really serve you as you build any of your new future development plans. Huh, Katrina, that's amazing. If you're doing it about learning and development, I think High Performance Habits, the book, and then also this course is going to be a really good pair for what it is that you're doing. So that's so cool to hear. All right. So the next thing, we're doing great on time. Hopefully this is super helpful for y'all to getting the wheels turning. So we talked about the actions we could take to elevate our learning practice, giving you a couple. The next thing I want to talk about is like the when we can integrate our learning. When can we integrate this learning that we're doing to really make it a habit? Now I tend to go back to rituals. I tend to go back to routines, and I tend to go back to habits. And I do this because the rituals and routines that we make in our life every single day have a dramatic impact on how we play, right? So when we're showing up every day and we have a schedule, like we're looking at our schedule, we have Monday through Friday, like from a work week, but really like Saturday and Sunday, think about your whole week. Think about what's scheduled and what's not scheduled. The things that are scheduled are the things that probably get done. They get your attention, they get your energy. The things that aren't scheduled, things that aren't planned, are more of that open window, a lot of possibility for distractions, a lot of possibilities to like grab your phone and be thinking about something on something that maybe is not needed right now. And that might not be connected to your necessity, like your purpose or your passions and the things that you really want to do. So when we think about when, the when is so important, and then is also really important. So when you're doing things, or when you're, you have these in your schedule, think about right now, where do you have developing yourself inside of your schedule? When do you have it? You can take a beat, go open up your Google Calendar and be like, when am I learning things? If you don't have like block times of when you're learning and growing, and also when you tap into those things, those block times, like if you're not specific about what it is that you need to learn or what it is that you need to grow in, then you're missing out on a lot of opportunity. And you could do that with the Growth Day app. You can go in and create a plan, and you could set reminders inside the plan. And then let me just do that really quick, just so for anybody that's new to Growth Day, they can get a little taste of this. So if I was to go in, and I have my October schedule in my plan, and I have things that I'm like maintaining. And if I go in and I have my health workout habits, my weekly growth group sessions, my team ritual. Okay, so let me go into rituals or routines. I can schedule this as a reminder. See, just like here we go. So I have this as due here, and I can come in and set a reminder on this main task. So I'm going to set a reminder, and I want to be reminded about this, of things. I just accidentally clicked out of it. Let me go back. My mouse is super fast. Let's see, this thing is super fast. All right. Go to my maintaining. I'm gonna set a reminder for the things I'm maintaining, and I'm just gonna like really go. I'm gonna go really savage here and just do it daily. And I'm gonna say, let's see if I'm doing this, and I'm gonna do it morning because I don't want to be reminded about it in the evening. I want to be reminded about it in the morning. So at 7:45. Because I don't really like doing things at the top of the hour. I like doing things a little bit before so I can prepare for it. So what I'll do is I'll be getting this maintaining list, and it'll be hitting me up in my notifications. So if I come back down here and look at my reminders, I have a maintaining reminder at 7:45. This is going to help me and prepare me for all the things that I need to be reminded about, things that I'm maintaining. I'm going to get reminded about that. And the same thing you could do for learning. So you have these at your fingertips to be able to help give you that trigger to remind yourself of what's most important to you about the things you're maintaining, that maybe the things you're advancing or the things you're learning. It could be pretty much anything that you want. Awesome. Let's go. All right. So the last question that I had too was about when will we integrate this learning. There's 3 examples that I want to give you of times that you can do this. First thing, when can you integrate something you've learned? Okay, when can you integrate something that you've learned? You can do it in your meetings. So think about the meetings you have Monday through Friday, or even Saturday, Sunday. When you're going into that meeting, what I tend to do, and this is my high performance mindset, is I like to think about the needs of the other people in the meeting. I like to think about the needs of what advancements each of these people are going to need to move their project or move their individual contributor energy to the next level. Like, what do they need? And then if I'm learning and growing and developing, like I was saying, I'm learning about executive leadership, then what I can be doing is I can be thinking about what does my team and what does the executive team need to be able to keep moving forward and keep their leadership practices advancing. So I can think about those meetings. Those meetings are the opportunities. So in those opportunities, how can I show up a little bit better? How can I prepare the things that I'm learning so that I can practice those things in those meetings? How I can model that behavior in those meetings? How I can help even prepare them, even if I'm not going to be speaking in that meeting. Like, what can I do to prepare for these moments? So that's one opportunity, and you have so many of these opportunities because you have meetings throughout the week. So think about what you could be doing. Second thing, events. What is an event? Like, an event is a scheduled time where it's going to probably have a little bit more energy than a meeting. Meetings is like something that's probably more of a ritual or more of a routine. I think an event is probably more of like a ritual. Like we have Wednesday workshops. We get excited about the Wednesdays. Coaches are coming in. People are coming in. Hundreds and hundreds of people are coming in to learn live. And then thousands and thousands of people watch it on replays. But like to do it live, that's an event. So for that event, if I know that I have something to look forward to for that specific event, what are the things? What are the moments for those events where I can just come with some notes, or I can come with some questions, or if I know that this entire month is about, what's this entire month's about, let's go to growth groups and go to live events. This whole month is about quitting the wrong thing. So last Glow, Koya, Webb, and Brendan were all talking about quitting the wrong thing. It's a great topic. So you could come into the next session on October 19th and be like, well, for this event, Jenna Kutcher and Mel Abraham are going live. They're going to talk about quitting the wrong thing. What are things that you're currently actively going through that you might need to quit, or that you might need another perspective for? You could come in with notes prepared. That way, when you come into that session, you're actively practicing the things that you need to, the things that you need feedback on, or you need to get another perspective on. And just by setting that intention before you go into that session, you're already continuously learning, because you're thinking about how to improve the thing that you need to improve. And I think just having that mindset and thinking about that coming into these sessions is like a beautiful act of learning, and making it a continuous learning habit for yourself, because you're always thinking about, oh, how could I improve this? And it's not like, I'm not like pressuring myself to do this, but I'm thinking about the next thing. And if I keep doing that on a consistent basis, I'm building that habit and that muscle inside my brain, inside my body, inside my spirit, to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to learn some new stuff here today. And then even when I'm not in those live sessions, I'm going to be continuously learning, because I'm building that discipline. I'm building that behavior into my DNA. I'm thinking about it. So I want to encourage you to do that. The last one is activities. All the activities you have, from dropping your kids off at school, from, running your team's meetings, like the activities that you do, the rituals, routines that you do on a weekly basis. They're opportunities for you to teach, for you to learn, for you to, connect the things that you're trying to learn with the things that you want to advance. And I think that just having that mindset and thinking about, all right, awesome, there's opportunities for me at this point in time to learn something new. What can I be doing in that moment? And how can I be preparing for that moment? And just knowing that you're always going to be growing and always going to be learning, but you don't have to stress out about it. You don't have to build up a ton of anxiety about it. You just have to know that learning is a journey, and that you can feel supported, and you can have a team to help you do that here at Growth Day. And we're super pumped that you're here and you're able to do this. You can use your journal for this. You can use your life scores, which is another way to like benchmark where you're currently at. If you haven't yet checked out life scores, I'd encourage you to do that today. You have daily, weekly, and monthly. These are daily, weekly, and monthly life scores in the scorecards. Number 3 on your keyboard. If you tap 3 on your keyboard when you come into the app, these scorecards are also another way for you to build continuous learning habits, because you're reflecting on how you're performing across these 10 categories. And then, we give you recommendations of things you can learn. And even if you watch the video, the recommendation before, you can still rewatch it and then recalibrate again and keep going through and elevating your scores on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, which is an incredible thing to do. So y'all, what I want to do right now is just offer anybody to come up on stage. We have 5 minutes. I want to offer you to come up on stage and share a thought, a question, or if you just want to discuss something, we can do it live here. But I just wanted to give you that opportunity to let's just jam and let's have that conversation. So does anybody want to raise their hand? If you do, and we can come up and we can discuss really quickly like what you're learning, maybe something you need a little support on, and just really it could be anything. Does anybody want to come up and hang out? All right, Ganesh, let's go. Let's go, man. All right, I'm gonna make you speaker. Welcome, Ganesh.
Hey,
Hey, man.
hey, hey, yeah. My question, I've gone on two of your growth groups here, and every time I'm on the group, I'm realizing that I'm not using this growth day app to its like fullest ability. I learned so much every time listening to you. Is there somewhere? Do you have like replays? You were saying you might get some replays, or is there
Yeah.
somewhere like some sort of like learning program to like learn more about
Yeah,
this?
so I've recorded all of my growth groups, and I've been figuring out where to put them in the community because I now have like 10 or so of these recordings, and we're kind of like reorganizing our spaces inside of the community. So I just didn't want to drop them in and they get lost in the feed because there's a lot of posts in the feed. So what I will be doing is I'll be posting, I'll just post them in the feed, and then if you go and find my name in the community, you'll be able to see all my past posts. And then what I'll do is I'll just attach the video replays to those so you can just go check them out. And then you can just comment in the threads if you have questions about like, hey, well, what's this? What's that? Share more here, and then I can just make more videos because I'm doing this on a weekly basis, so I can also help produce more content if we need to around specific topics.
Great, great. And you said it in the feed, like in the chat, or was that exactly that I'm finding
Yeah,
that?
so good question. So in the community, are you on web or yeah, you're on web.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so on web, there underneath the learn tab or the learn icon, there's the community icon. It's like the three little people, and it's the same icon on mobile. If you tap into that, you'll end up getting a feed. So you don't have to, because like community, you have to sign in. It's like kind of a different it's a different like platform inside of Growth Day. But if you come in here and you click community, and then you'll just see a feed of uh, all the posts from the community, and
Yeah.
in there there's a little search bar, and you could search for my name, Drew Bridewell, and you'll see all the posts that I've had in the history, and then you can see all my posts, all my comments, and that can be another way that we can stay connected to afterward because anybody can just direct message me on there.
Oh, great. Thanks so much. I got it right here.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah, and welcome. How long you been on Growth Day?
Just a couple of months now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's one big thing you're learning right now, Ganesh?
One of the things I'm learning right now is I've actually taken a trauma course. But if I'm learning something here, I'm taking the identity shift challenge
Oh,
right now.
nice.
I'm finding a lot of growth with that. I really resonated with Anthony Trucks there, I think it was.
Yeah, man, his replay. He's like just his replays from the past months. Like he's just got brings the energy, and he's just always is given like so many frameworks of things that to go through. So that's a really awesome that you're jumping into that, man. That's a good challenge. So kudos,
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
Awesome. Nice to
Thanks.
meet you.
You too, man.
Awesome. All right, cool. Anybody else want to come up, hang out with us up here? Any things you want to share? Questions that you have? Really, only got like a minute left because when these sessions end, they end and it's over. So, either 30 minutes or an hour. Here we go. Customize life score. Is there a way to customize life scores? Essentially, make it a habit tracker. So, Greg, good question. So, is there a way to customize life scores? Right now, and Ganesh, I'll just move you back down since you're going back down. I'll make you an attendee so you don't have to worry about it. So as far as customizing the life scores, there's no way to customize life scores. You either just go through daily, weekly, monthly scorecards. Those are derived from our high performance research. So they're basically assessments that used to be, we used to charge money to access those, but now they're just free, a part of the starter plan, and you just do them as much as you want. And there's really no way or no wrong way to do it. You just answer the questions during the time of the day. You have time to do the reflection, and you get recommendations at the end, and you can see over time your score and your trend line based on the history. So if you go into the page, you'll see like a little history. But y'all, appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for attending today's growth group, and I will see you in the next one.